the nickname Big Game Brunson, it may start to be appropriate. We had another Brunson burner last night. New York City ready for Jalen Brunson. Tracy Morgan at the game, so you know it's big. So we're going to pick this up end of the half. The Pacers up 52-46 here. Tyrese Halliburton, he hits the three. But then, watch this, Richard. 2 seconds left here. Isaiah Hartenstein, I didn't know he had this.
I don't think he knew he had it. But that's why you always shoot the ball. I don't care if it's 0.3 seconds, 1 second. Guys dribble this out all the time. It's the playoffs. Throw it up.
Halliburton surprised. Stephon Marbury surprised, delighted, all of the above. So 50 seconds left in the third. Pacers up 82-77. Obi Toppin on the break.
Oh, this was wild. East Bay, baby.
Yo, my kids and I were watching this. They freaked out. Like between the legs in a postseason game.
The confidence.
Oh,
the moxie.
Because if it don't go right, those are one of those things that could be a swing other way. But that was special.
The Pacers bench showed up big time.
Oh, and this one was electric too.
Ooh.
Posterizes.
I'd rather have this one if I'm gonna be really honest.
Really?
If I had if I would rather have a dunk in a game, that's the game. Give me the.
I mean, Robinson's 7 feet tall and Naismith is 6'5".
He looked about 7'9" right there.
Josh Hart gets the and one, and then Hart rebounds his own missed free throw, because of course he does, and puts it back.
Well, Josh Hart has been special rebounding. It's just effort and mentality. That's been the difference between him and everybody else.
What we're talking about with Jalen Brunson?
Can't guard me.
Again,
big body Brunson, the Brunson burner.
I like the Brunson
I know
burner.
Because
OG Anunoby, steal, dunk, that's lit too. And then let's go ahead here to the Knicks' next possession. Brunson, little step back, boom, gets that one to go too. I love it. I love the crowd shots in Madison Square Garden. There's nothing like it. Close down the stretch here. The Pacers going to work. They get that one to go. Tibbs, not too pleased about that one, but
the Knicks have just been, in the last 3 minutes of every single game, it seems like they make the plays, the ball bounce their way, they play the hardest, the longest, and they come out successful.
This, though, was huge. Watch. This was called, it was not a kick?
No, they said it was, it touched his hand. They said the referees called it a kick, but it actually touched his hand, so they maintain possession of the ball. They hit the three right after.
And then here, watch Miles Turner. He's called for the moving screen. So the Knicks win 121-117.
Didn't like that call.
Brunson,
but technically it's the right one.
6
Women's
rebounds,
Final Four.
6 assists.
We know.
Here's Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, the 40 points are cool and all, but it's the little things that help us win games like that. And so I'm just happy I have the group of guys that I do. And I just know that we're going to fight every single day. And then that's all I'm really thinking about.
So Jalen Brunson, he's now scored 40 points in 4 consecutive games. It's tied for the second longest streak in postseason history and the longest since '93 Jordan. Janae, I mean, how does he keep turning out these monster performances again and again?
You know I'm going to do it. Jalen Brunson is on an all-time burner in a Knicks uniform. And let me break down the fourth quarter for you, where he dropped 21 points, the most in a fourth quarter of a playoff game by a Knicks player in the last 25 years. It starts off with him being able to get downhill. He scored 14 points on layups and floaters, and I like how he shoots that before the defense comes. Again, he's a three-point threat. He loved this matchup with Nembhard, 8 for 12 from the field, getting buckets on 3. And then again, 3-level scorer. Watch this. He's got the midi game. He had 15 points on jumpers, taking some contact. Brunson is heating up. He's burning up. And then last but not least, I know we're in the day of the rap beeps. All eyes on me. When all eyes were on him, he only had 6 assists, but this was a timely one. Look, fourth quarter, less than a minute to go, going to his Nova Knicks bro, and Dante knocks it down. Y'all, this was truly impressive. We're not talking about MJ. We're not talking about Jordan. Guess who has the longest streak of 40.5 assist game in postseason history? It is Jalen Brunson, and he is on an all-time heater.
I mean, he's a certified closer at this point. But the question is, they keep getting in these close games. We talk about how many minutes that the Knicks players are racking up, the pace that the Pacers are playing at. I want to bring Zach Lowe back into the conversation, because the question is, Zach, do you think that they can continue to pull out these really close games?
You're asking me?
Yes.
If the Knicks The Tom Thibodeau, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Nova Knicks can continue to do this magical stuff in the fourth quarter. The time for doubting the Knicks is over. Nothing about the Knicks will surprise me from here on out. They could be down by 10 with 8 seconds left and come back to win somehow, and I'll be like, oh, makes sense. Josh Hart got 19 offensive rebounds and Jalen Brunson scored 20 points in 5 seconds. This is crazy, but there's no reason to think it won't keep up. They are tireless, they're relentless, and they seem very, very comfortable in moments when other teams get tight. So the Knicks keep playing close games. Unless Tyrese Maxey is involved, they seem totally at home.
The Knicks are that team that it's kind of like, oh, who don't you want to play? They're one of those teams. And typically when you say who you don't want to play, it's not like, oh, you don't want to play the Boston Celtics. It's like, who is that sneaky team? They look like the version of the Miami Heat, right? Not 100% healthy. You have a leader that it just seems like when it gets to that time, he always steps up, either with the shots, the defensive plays, the level of trust he has for his teammates. Other players are stepping up. If you look at this team, you can compare them to last year's Miami Heat, where you're like, how are they doing it? And it's just so impressive. So yes, do I think the Knicks can keep it up? 1,000%.
Okay.
Now, I do believe that the opponents get tougher as you progress, but I do believe that the way they played, they can maintain it.
Didn't you? The playoffs. They've really been dominated, right, by 2 names, Chiney and Richard. Well, also Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards. Last night was no exception. You knew he meant business when he walked in like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I love is he was pressured. He got full court pressure. He didn't lose his cool. Watch this right here. He's still able to get to his float game. He has excellent touch, 6 points on floaters alone, but then also his layups. I mean, he just has the control. The ball is in his hand. He's attacking the rim. And what I love is he releases the ball before the defense gets there. Sometimes people get swatted. He has the IQ to know what's coming. But last but not least, look at these jumpers. I mean, this was a matchup they love. Andrew Nembhard, he just pivoted. He didn't waste a dribble. He's someone that did dribble a lot going into the series. He was very efficient with his movements, his finishes. This was a complete performance by Jalen Brunson.
Definition of a 3-level scorer.
Finished with 43 points, and New York takes a 1-0 series lead. So let's go on to Anthony Edwards here as the Wolves, they were looking to go up 2 last night.
Watch this. Jay Crawford said he must have been proposing. That's crazy. That was, watch this. And the handle, he feels the awareness, brings it back. He's like, oh, I got it. No, I don't. Oh, will you please marry me? No, I will not. And you get your butt back over there. Get over there. That's what he was telling him. Get away from me.
Would you have said yes?
No, absolutely not. I'd have been pissed off.
Anthony Edwards once again elevates here, gets the 3 to go, and then pedals back, hitting the MJ shrug, which is, I mean, all of this is just cruel. And then Edwards drives. He finishes right here. He gets the and one. Here's what he said about his emotion on the court.
If I do something nice, I got to let it be known. If I get an and one, I got to flex. Make somebody fall, I'm going to point at them.
Honestly, I love it. No notes. That's exactly how it should be. With no text called, by the way, for anyone who's keeping track. And Brunson, they've been the early stars of the postseason. Edwards scoring 32 a game to lead Minnesota to a 6-0 start. Brunson's 36 points per game propelled the Knicks to a 1-0 series lead in the conference semifinals. It feels like we talk a lot about Brunson. We talk about Edwards every single day in the show. So, Zach, I'm going to start with you here. Who's been the MVP of the playoffs so far?
I'm going to go with big body Brunson, just because without Julius Randle, the Knicks don't really have anyone else who can break down the defense consistently. Ant has been unbelievable. Any choice is good here. He's just got a little more help on offense than Jalen Brunson, who's got to play damn near every minute and run every single possession. So I'll go by the thinnest of margins, as Perk would say, big body Brunson.
We are 100% aligned, Zach, when I think Brunson, and when you talk about how he's got to navigate more than what Anthony Edwards. And Anthony Edwards, in my opinion, you take away one of his players, Anthony Edwards is still going to be Anthony Edwards. But that's what we are actually witnessing from Brunson, and that's been impressive.
Yeah, what else do I have to say? I'm going to go with Brunson as well. But one thing I do love between...
Because like all of you guys came up with the same damn answer.
I'm gonna hit the MJ shrug. I'm just gonna go.
Shrug. One thing I do love about those 2 stars, I mean, if the MVP at this moment is Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards is close to hoisting the Larry O'Brien based off of his performance and his team's success. And one thing that I do love is that gone are the days with the, ideas of, aggregation of stars and all those things. Now you're seeing that a talented player can be very successful, can transform the mindset and the personality and the identity of teams, and you don't have to have 5 or 6 All-Stars. You just need someone that believes and let that permeate on everyone else.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down, because if we talk about Anthony Edwards, he's got the Defensive Player of the Year. He's got another All-Star, All-NBA player, and he's got multiple all-level defensive players.
Yeah, but they're not the same talents. My point is they were structured very differently.
Agreed.
Like, they proved that you can have 2 huge 7-footer bigs, Karl-Anthony Towns shooting, and then Rudy Gobert playing defense. You know what I mean? So, like, it's done differently. They tailored around Anthony Edwards, and they're doing the same thing with Jalen Brunson.
Agreed.
We were talking, Rich, about the difference between fear and respect and what happens when Anthony Edwards walked onto the floor, because you have been this guy who has walked in with the best player before. Can you just take us inside what that feels like?
Well, no, there's just a level of confidence. Obviously, Jokic is going to win the MVP. I believe a lot of people believe that.
Yeah.
Well, he's the best player in the world and really has been consistently the most dependable, high-level player over the last 3 years. But they believe that Anthony Edwards is a young Michael Jordan. And I say that to say, I know everyone's talking about all the similarities, but the fact that you can walk onto a court believing that you have the best leader. I've done that with Jason Kidd, who took us to 2 finals. I've done that with LeBron, who's taken me to 2 finals and won a championship. When you walk onto the court and you're like, oh, well, we've got the best player. We just have to do our jobs and fill in the gaps. That's where Minnesota is different, because they look at Denver and say, oh, we got this. We can beat you. Now, will they? We'll find out if they can do 2 more.
It feels like they're not scared.
No, scared is different. Respect, they don't respect them. They don't
That feels
respect
worse
it.
to me.
It is. They do not respect the Denver Nuggets.
Whoa.
That's why they attacked them the way they did in Game 1. That's why they attacked them the way they did in Game 2, shorthanded on the road twice. That is a level of not disrespect, but they don't respect them.
Zach, are the Denver Nuggets going to get at least one? Are we going back to Denver with it all tied up?
I'm going to defer to the champs and say they'll get at least one, but I don't like their chances to really get back in this series. They look like a defeated, frustrated team last night, and Minnesota is hungry. That crowd's going to be crazy.
Yeah, the crowd is going to go crazy. It's going to dictate this series.
Thank you for that, Chiney.
I mean, you guys left me like 5 seconds to talk.